But I've got to say this, when you look at Victoria's CV, as a branch and as a community, we are truly blessed that someone of Victoria's calibre has chosen to run for the Labor Party in this area, for Riverina. She's a person who's grown up in this area. It's very important to be local. Secondly, she's a person who's worked as a teacher, and we all know the role and importance of education in our local community and the status which teaching has within our local communities. Thirdly, she's also worked in small business. Again, an important contribution, and its symbolic effect to a community where there's so much small business which generates employment. So we have a candidate who actually blends a whole bunch of life experiences into her background. And I think we are really, as a party and as a community, fortunate to have someone like her going to the Labor Party this time. So can I conclude by simply saying this, that for Victoria to win this time round is going to be hugely tough. Hugely tough. But what we need to commit ourselves to doing is taking that 19% margin down to 9. Because let me tell you, once you're down to 9, the next step ain't too hard after that. And for that to happen, it's not just going to, in Riverina, depend on what happens with Labor's central campaign and how well Mark Latham does in the media, or how well I might do in the media, or anyone else might do in the media. In communities like this, which are not dissimilar to the ones I grew up in, it really does hang on how well you do in your local campaign. So my plea to each of you who are actively involved in the FEC of the Riverina is this. Don't despair. Let's pull back that National Party margin from double digits to single digits. And let's use that as a building block to beat the hell out of them the time after. And we will. With Victoria Brooks, we will. I ask you, and I plead, get behind her in this campaign. It's a lonely road as a candidate. Get behind her, work with her in the blood, sweat and tears of trench warfare, which is electoral politics, and make sure we let the Nationals know that we're on the hunt for them. And if we don't get them this time, my God, we're going to get them next time. Thank you so much.
Was to launch Victoria's campaign, and we congratulate him and thank you for that. I'll never forget when Victoria came back from the national conference, and she said to me that I'm going to get Kevin Rudd down here for a dinner. I said, yeah, I wish you luck. And she kept on, and as Kevin said, she just kept on, and that shows the determination that she does have. And I now call on Victoria to give a vote of thanks to Kevin Rudd. Give a warm welcome to Victoria.
Good evening, everybody. I've got so much to say in so little time, but I guess I should start by thanking Kevin Rudd for coming down today. I know he's extraordinarily busy. I think on behalf of everyone here, let's thank him for his time and his very kind words. Thank you very much. It is true, nobody believed me. I'm not sure if I believed myself, but I did tell every branch meeting that Kevin Rudd was indeed coming down to Wagga, and it was sort of met with, yeah. And I kept saying, he is actually coming, so yes, it is very nice to have him here. What else do I want to say this evening? Kevin's touched on a lot of the political issues I wanted to raise. I think Kevin Rudd is one of the most articulate, eloquent and intelligent politicians this country has seen to date. And he does actually owe me, because what he didn't say is when I went up to him, what I did in fact say was, I think it was about 2 days after I was endorsed, of course we had the challenge for the leadership. So being very naive at this point, the Daily Advertiser phoned me and said, well, what do you think? I said, oh, I'm going for Rudd, of course, going for Rudd, not a problem. So page 3, Daily Advertiser, Brooks backs Rudd. So what happens the next day? Rudd pulls out. So the phone went off the hook for 2 days, because I did not know what to moment, because I'm going to challenge her on every issue that needs to be challenged. And I'm the sort of person, I am persuasive, I don't back down. I think my father can testify to that. And if anyone's wondering why I'm in politics, my father was in politics and I think it runs in the blood. So I've always wanted to get into politics. I'm not going to back down on issues, and I do believe that politics is about people. I believe that politics is about the people of the Riverina. You are the people of the Riverina, you're my people, and your issues are my issues. And I want everyone here to know that if you come to me with an issue, I will follow it through. I'm the sort of person I don't back down, and if I win, I will take every issue to Canberra, and I'm determined to get the best for the Riverina. And then I can assure you that's not political rhetoric, it's actually what I believe in. So, I want to thank you all immensely for coming tonight. It is about support. Politics is about supporting one another. And when we support one another, we can get results. And that's what it's all about. So, ladies and gentlemen, I may not win this time, but I'm going to keep going until we get Labor back into the Riverina. So, thank you very much.
From Labor on defence and even bigger promises for this region. According to Riverina ALP candidate Victoria Brooks, an additional 1,000 recruits would be trained at Kapooka with increased RAAF spending under a Labor federal government.
Latham Labor early this week unveiled a comprehensive defence policy to counter the Howard government claim of strong representation during these times of terrorist threats. Under Labor, a new light battalion will be based in Queensland after a stay in the Riverina.
We're going to have 1,000 new recruits being trained there, so this is huge for Wagga. I mean, it's great for Australia, it's great for the Riverina, but for Wagga we've got some enormous benefits with this policy.
Those recruits needing accommodation. That ALP defence plan could only complement an expanded Forest Hill RAAF base.
We're actually going to be increasing fundings, not only to Forest Hill but also to Kapooka.
The ALP defence policy includes a defence white paper outlining strategy.
The other thing we're doing is creating a new Defence Minister for Procurement, which means that defence projects will now be looked at in terms of they've got to be on time and on budget.
According to Labor, it's all about a strong Australian Defence Force. Peter Andrea
Form a big part of Labor's policy.
With more carrots and greengrocers, Peter Costello gave Labor leader Mark Latham a tough task in replying to his ninth budget. The woman who will take on Kay Hull at the upcoming election says Labor will remember the groups left out on Tuesday night.
We'll be looking at early childhood programs, more funding for schools, more TAFE places, a youth mentoring program, and reducing HECS fees for our university students.
Victoria Brooks touting the opposition leader's budget reply as responsible.
Especially in rural areas such as the Riverina, and we're going to be injecting millions and millions of dollars into health and education programs so that people in the Riverina can access services when they need them, such as more bulk billing doctors, access to specialists. We're looking at a free pneumococcal vaccine for children.
But Mr Latham made this concession on morning radio when quizzed on where the money would come from to fund his promises.
We mightn't be able to cover every single person, but we certainly want to make it broader.
With speculation now around an election date, Labor's hopes pin on how the nation has bought the budget.
Took centre stage at a forum for federal election candidates at Wagga Christian College last night. Kay Hull, Victoria Brooks, Ray Goodless and Neil Turner weighed in on the public versus private debate.
Education. It's one of the topics on everyone's lips this election, and last night was no different in Wagga. More than 70 people turning up at a candidates forum at the Christian College. National Party candidate and incumbent member for Riverina, Kay Hull, saying public education should be available to children regardless of which school they attend.
All parents should be supported in educating their children, whether they be in a state or a Catholic or an independent school.
ALP candidate Victoria Brooks weighing in on the public versus private debate, arguing it is unfair for some students to sit in sweltering heat while others swam in a school pool. Mrs Hull, though unhappy the national debate has been, as she sees it,
Candidates vying for the seat of Riverina have gone head-to-head with MIA voters at a forum in Griffith. Many residents showed anger over the lack of fundamental services in the bush.
The community got its chance to ask the candidates how they would serve the people of the Riverina if elected. Peter Fussell from the Griffith Chamber of Commerce, which organised the staging of the event, highlighting one of the region's key concerns and political issues, health, and the contentious issue of bulk billing in light of the shortage of medical professionals in the region.
You know, it's no good talking about bulk billing rates if you don't have enough doctors. We don't have enough doctors in the Riverina, so it doesn't matter if it targets 80% bulk billing. you don't have enough practitioners, you can't get to that rate anyway.
One by one, each party delivering its policies. First up, the Greens candidate, Ray Goodless, says he's campaigning in the Riverina for health, education and community services. One Nation's Neil Turner addressing improvements in infrastructure, water, rail, roads and health and education. Labor candidate Victoria Brooks telling the audience that she wants to become the next member for Riverina.
To blindly try to sell political policies that do not benefit the people of your electorate, in my eyes, is misrepresentation.
Ms Hull imploring the gathering to put its trust in her and what she says is her party's commitment to deliver its pre-election promises.
Victoria Brooks trained at the Sydney Conservatorium and in Europe. Now she's back home to teach and continue her distinguished professional career. And her introduction to composing course at the Riverina Conservatorium has produced surprise after surprise, like farmer's wife Dorothy Harris of Holbrook. Dorothy writes songs of praise, her husband pens the lyrics, and she will be writing a lot more after an inspirational time on this course.
We've been given a lot of wealth of new insights, and it's given me the motivation and more creativity to carry on and do more music composition.
And what about 86-year-old Marvel Dot Flint of Wagga, who wrote this piece?
The realisation that I'm actually writing music is something that just absolutely amazes me. I have very little musical background, and when I saw this course advertised and decided to do it, it's one of the best things I've ever done.
Then there's music teacher Tony Stringham from Canada, in town while her husband spent time at CSU.
When I came here, I really wanted to have something that I could do with my time, and composition of music has always been in the back of my mind because I have students who can compose, and I wanted to help them.
She's taken home a whole new level of personal confidence.
Just been so thrilled to be able to learn how to do it and to have the confidence that I can now go back and compose my own music.
Victoria says she's been blown away by the discoveries she's made in this first course. There's another to start next year, and she can't wait to tune into some more amazing composers.
You don't have to be a Mozart or a Beethoven to do the course. You just need to be enthusiastic and just have a willingness to learn some basic technical skills.
Doug Hogan, Prime Local News.
Labor leader Mark Latham's decision to back the government's deal with the US. His Riverina spokesperson stressing the clauses that came with that agreement.
We're not going to budge until these amendments are made. So basically what we've said to John Howard is, you make these changes and we'll let the FTA go through the Senate. If you don't make the changes, we're not going to let it go through.
Bob Carr said yesterday morning that there were no grounds for concern about the PBS, Mr Speaker. So I think what the Leader of the Opposition is doing is burbling his own Labor mates on this subject.
While the region's agricultural representatives have welcomed the spin-offs for farmers, Ms Brooks says it could have gone further.
We do think that John Howard could have gone in harder for the farmers, though. I mean, we're saying we support it, but we think basically that he didn't go in hard enough for farmers.
Brooks reigniting her campaign by addressing the concerns of the public, including the issues of health and the cost of petrol.
In this area, we've got access to specialists, we've got dental health care problems, we've got bulk billing. Petrol prices are still a huge one. I mean, petrol prices have the potential to cripple towns in the Riverina.
Ms Brooks says the Labor Party plans to implement a strategy that she says would result in the reduction of the cost of petrol.
We're going to introduce a 6-point plan to put pressure on petrol prices so we can get these prices down.
Labor Party candidate Victoria Brooks has brought in one of the heavyweights for the launch of her election campaign. Foreign Affairs spokesperson Kevin Rudd visited the Riverina, concerned over security measures at Wagga Airport and the privatisation of Telstra.
Federal Labor powerhouse Kevin Rudd has turned to local issues during his visit to the Riverina, speaking out against the privatisation of Telstra.